welcome to PCube, where we watch and talk about music as classical musicians. Today we are going back to Electric Light Orchestra. We actually did, I think, only a couple of videos on them. I can find them and put their links here. It's been a while, but today we are going back via a request from Steve, one of our supporters on Buy Me Coffee. So thank you for your song suggestion and for your support. He sent a very specific song and from a very specific concert. I feel like this is like a very famous concert that they did at Wembley, I think in 2017. This is called Livin Thing. I'm not sure if the band still has the original members or not. From like the few seconds that I watched, I don't know. I feel like maybe the arrangements have changed, but we don't know the original band members to begin with anyway. So we're just gonna focus on the song and listen to it. And then he specifically said this is the version to listen to because it's very pretty. So we are excited to watch and listen to this together.
Yes, I'm also very excited because the first time that we listened to ELO, I really loved it. I think it was Master Kingdom, and since then it's also in my playlist, and I found the sound of the band very interesting and like different, because they say that the ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, they use a orchestra in their songs. And I know some of the other bands also use them and do it, but this was for me very unique at first that I heard it. So I'm also very excited. And and the songs after that we also listened to were really, really cool. So I'm very looking forward to see what is it this time.
Yeah, all right, let's go. I love the contrast between that dramatic strings, like that is like, oh my, and then suddenly they start like every time that is like, oh okay, and then we're back in the, I feel like in a happy land, that dun, 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 and then it's just like so dramatic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like two different, I don't know, songs that they just like crashed each other. The thing that she is playing is so dramatic than the other part of the song. But I have to say that first of all, I think it's just me being a classical musician, and I'm sure it's totally a normal thing, but I've never saw an acoustic violin to sound like an electric violin, because the sound was completely like an electric violin with like the strings, the cable that it's there, and then there's no wooden thing. But the thing was, and I'm sure it's a normal thing. I just never saw it as like it's weird for me because I never saw such a thing. The thing that she was playing, especially the second time, reminded me a little bit like one of the concerts of Iani, because the melody was exactly like that. I don't know which concert exactly was it, but I remember that it was a girl also. She looked like her, and it was a violin and I don't know, different singers and stuff. And the kind of music that they were doing, at least in one or two songs, it was like having the same in my ear, at least having the same like drama and vibe to it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The melody also sounded familiar. I don't know. It's maybe because of that. It was kind of like in my ear when I heard it. But all right, let's go listen to more of it, and then we can talk more about the other parts.
You can believe this is what you can see from your worst day.
I'm taking a dive.
I'm moving in line, and you look back in time to the first day.
I'm taking.
And your sweet desire to believe. Oh, higher and higher, baby. It's a living thing. It's a terrible thing to lose. It's a given thing. What a terrible thing to lose. I'm taking a dive on the sky. Hey, hey, hey. Taking a dive, 'cause you can't help this life floating downstream.
I'm taking a dive.
Oh, so let her go. Don't start spoiling the show. It's a bad dream.
I'm taking.
And your sweet desire.
Don't you do it?
Don't you do it? Oh, higher and higher, baby. That's a living thing. It's a terrible thing to lose. It's a given thing. What a terrible thing to lose. It's a living thing. It's a terrible thing to lose. It's a given thing. What a terrible thing to lose.
Wow, that was such a fun performance.
Yeah, so many different things was happening, and I'm very surprised how it sound uh, like one song. And because from the melody that she played, in the beginning, that was, I don't know, it's, I think, I'm sure it's for a region or a country, like Spanish maybe or something. And then also the other thing that was happening was, at first I didn't realize why I have this feeling of, like, I don't know, holiness, or I don't know, but I just realized after a couple times that, did you hear the choir thing that we're singing, like some ooh, like this? It's like it was
Yeah.
like in a church choir, or like, I don't know, in Disney or something, like this really
Oh,
holy
okay.
angelic thing. And the things is that you hear so many songs with so many different layers, that they all do their own thing and stuff. But in this song, not only they were like different things happening, but these different things were like coming from so many different, I don't know, backgrounds and vibes, that you're like, I don't know, it's like you're walking through a street and here is a church, and then you go, it's a I don't know, a club, and then you go further, it's like, I don't know, like there's so many different things that they have nothing to do with each other, are just in one thing. The vibes and the backgrounds and the, I don't know, the effects were so different. Then I'm so surprised that I could still really hear like one completely cohesive song. And I think one of the reasons is that they used really like they repeated some motifs a lot, not a lot, but like they use this aspect of repeating something so that it brings you something familiar, so that you can stick on and don't say that it's so uncohesive, or like I don't know what is happening or something. You could really hear that oh okay, it's the same song, oh okay, yeah, it happened there, but it's still the same song. And one more thing is that I really loved in one of these parts that was also repeating every time, but I think the lyrics was every time different, was that also he started with that. I really loved how he was using this contrast between um, like staccato notes, or like very articulated and like short notes, and then he was finishing it with a long note, and it was like it's like something is somebody is like cannot breathe, or like breathes very shortly, and then you take a deep breath after, and it's so sweet to hear that. For example, can you put
Yeah, sure.
I can believe this is what you can see from your worst day.
I'm taking a dive.
I'm moving in line, then you look back in time to the first day.
I'll take it.
yeah
Here.
yeah, I'm not sure if this part was the most dramatic thing that I was saying, but from the beginning was like that, and it caught my attention.
Yeah.
That how interesting is like dot dot dot, and then a straight long line, and it really is like makes you feel this word that he's saying, also makes it more important and makes it like really sits in you, because he's doing that.
Yeah, that was very interesting. And I love that, as you said, like about like all these different layers. I was challenging myself to like think about and like try to listen to each layer, and then I failed because like halfway through the song I just heard the piano and like, or the keyboard. I was like, oh, there is a keyboard. When they started again, and then they like started the chord progression, I was like, oh, that's a piano. And then, so as you said, I'm sure there's just so many things that happening. And then I feel like in the second time that he was kind of repeating the same melody, it was like so many strings like in the back that they're just going like some passages going up and down. So I love that even though the melody was kind of the same, the responses or like the layers in the instruments were very different. One thing that really, like, I feel like every time we listen to ELO, that's the case. There's just so many things happening in the background, and then it's just crazy, but at the end, like, they kind of come together as like a big beautiful sound. But I feel like that huge sound really contrasts so perfectly with his voice and delivery, because the voice in most of the songs actually is very conversational and very intimate, as opposed to like that huge orchestra that is always happening. So that's always like, every time I was like, oh, okay, because you can imagine his voice or like the way that he sings, that it could also just be accompanied by his guitar playing, and that would also be perfectly fine. So I could picture him just like very like minimal arrangement that he's just playing and he's just singing, maybe like a drum in the background. But then it's interesting that you see that, and then that, and but then the way that it perfectly like matched together, because I feel like the topics, at least the songs that we heard, the topics that they sing about is also very like conversational and very relatable, especially like this song that was just talking about like it would be a terrible thing to lose, because it's talking about a relationship. And I feel like all the people, like the audience interacting with, also like reinforces the idea of like that is so relatable and so universal, but at the same time you see that huge production in the background. So that's, I feel like that's very like an interesting contrast every time that we watch one of their songs, especially if it's like a live version, which I think that's all we did so far. We just listened to their live version, which brings me to like the second point, that the whole thing feels like more like an ensemble that are all like kind of equally important than like an orchestra plus a singer, because like every instrument, I feel like, or every section gets their moment, and his singing and his delivery is also not overpowering. I think it's also like a mixed thing in the sound engineering, that it kind of like feels like everything feels like one, even though, as you said, there's just so many things happening, and there's so much counterpoint happening, because like each layer or each instrument is doing their own melody, and the singer is doing their own melody, and then there's like sections of solo for this and that, but at the same time it feels like a big like music production, and it's kind of like theatrical at some points because of all the like I don't know, all the sections that we see, especially with like the videography. So every time we watched, I was like, oh, that's actually such a cool concert to be in. I feel like, because then it's just like there's something for everybody to enjoy, and I really love the vibe and the energy of this song as well. So we are so happy that we did that. Actually, we touched on ELO again after so many months, so it kind of like reminded us that there's so much to listen to from this band. So if you guys have any other suggestions, let us know in the comments. But thank you, Steve, for this song suggestion. We hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you want to support us more, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.